VibraGenix.
VibraGenix.
The VibraGenix.
VibraGenix.
This really is your frequency medicine cabinet.
It takes sound vibration to a whole new level.
I literally felt a vibration in my body that I hadn't felt in a long time.
This is why I love this, because it's practical.
The VibraGenix.
VibraGenix.com.
If you could just try it and feel it, it will change your life.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Caroline, the CEO and founder of VibraGenix, and I'm joined once again today by our medical contributor, Dr. Darryl Bates, MD, regenerative medicine, Chinese medicine, family medicine, all his specialties. We want to talk about today is weight loss. That is such a huge issue. And especially in the spring, people are trying to lose weight. A lot of people are stuck, they're struggling. And I want to talk about the reasons behind why people can't lose weight, as well as some of the really effective techniques and modalities that you can stack and put together to actually create really effective, lasting weight loss.
All right. That sounds good.
So one thing I've realized throughout my career is when I get people that have a really hard time and are stuck losing weight, a lot of the times, or many of the times, it's had to do with liver toxicity, because your body is always trying to keep yourself safe, right? It's really trying to do what's in your best interest, even though you feel like it's turned against you and it's just holding on to all that extra weight. And if the liver is not detoxified and not ready to process those toxins, your body won't break down the fat, because your body is really just trying to be safe and healthy. Really important, to detoxify the liver. I'm a huge fan of milk thistle. It's the only herb that we know of that actually will regenerate the liver. And also cleaning up your diet, alcohol use, all the things that we do that aren't really good for us in the first place. So that's one thing I've run into. I think that people need to address. Thyroid issues can definitely be a problem as well, and a bit of a challenge. Emotional issues I've found to be huge, especially with women. Women, when they're stressed or depressed, they eat the wrong things. A lot of guys will go the other way and won't eat, but women will overeat and eat the wrong things at the wrong times. Stress is a huge factor, and learning how to manage your stress is really, really important. I really want to address the GLP-1s, because there's a lot out there on both sides, a lot of chatter, even in my wellness center, on people that are interested in them. They don't know enough about them. They've heard good stories, bad stories. And I'm really interested in hearing why you think that some people do so extraordinarily well. They feel great. They can still eat and function. Other people, they have a hard time eating 3 bites at a time. Is it due to dosing? Is it due to the kind? What is your thoughts?
Yeah, so the GLP-1s are very popular. I mean, extremely popular. And what I've been seeing as I've prescribed them is you really have to be responsible with them. Everything that you mentioned before, if we just kind of revisit the fundamentals, the foundation of health, you need to be exercising, you need to be eating clean foods, you need to be hydrated, you need to be sleeping well. Ideally, you are a part of your community, so you've got connections. These are all of the things that are just the principles, the foundations of health. And if you still need help with losing weight, then I think that's when the GLP-1s come in. They can support you in your weight loss. A lot of people are concerned, and I was concerned. I didn't prescribe these for years because I was concerned about the side effects, and the big ones being pancreatitis, issues with your gallbladder, and slowing the motility down of your stomach and of your small intestines, to the point where some people could develop something called gastroparesis, which is really unfortunate and very dangerous, because your stomach and your intestines just stop moving. They're always supposed to be propelling food down from your mouth towards your anus. And if it just stops, food sits there. It's a very dangerous situation. Where people run into trouble is they go too fast and too high with the dosage. They're in a rush to lose weight, and they're losing weight too fast. The ideal method when you're using these GLP-1s, and when I say GLP-1s, I mean semaglutide and tirzepatide. in particular, that's what I'm talking about. You want to lose 1, maybe 2 pounds a week over months at a time while you're exercising. And I say while you're exercising because you want to maintain your muscle mass. That's another one of the side effects, is the weight loss is indiscriminate. You're just losing weight. And if you're losing some of your muscle as you're losing weight, that is not good, because muscle is life. Muscle is vitality. So I think that's a good start. We can talk about other things, but I think that's where a lot of people are really concerned about. The side effects, where they should start, how long are they going to be on it? What do you do when you get to the weight that you would want to be when you to your goal? These are a lot of the questions that come up, and we can talk about any and all of those.
We've talked about microdosing. It seems like when I have seen people really control how much they're using instead of getting overexcited and using more and more, it stabilizes their blood sugar, it curbs their appetite. If they get too much, they stop eating, and that's when you really lose muscle. So it's just a real fine balance. And you find a lot of people with addictive personalities, whether it's a weight loss pill or an injectable, just controlling that amount, I think, is really, really important. And then it can be safe and effective.
Yeah, so let's define what microdosing is. So microdosing, the way that I've been prescribing it, is using the lowest dose that's available, and you stay on that lowest dose. So if you're using semaglutide or tirzepatide injectable, then you're going to stay at the lowest dose and you will inject that once a week. What's great about that is it gives your body time to adjust to the medication. If you do have something like nausea, which can be one of the side effects, you can take Zofran, you can try ginger, but it gives your body time, it gives your brain time to adjust. You're not going to lose your desire for food, but it does help control the food noise and certain cravings. So I've had people ask me, hey, what can I do about the food noise? And they include food, they include wine, binging, and with the microdosing, that is helped and that's lowered, which sometimes that's all that's needed, because if you can control that, now you're controlling more of your calories. And then with your exercise and with the other things that you're doing, now you start to see that you're shaping up. The body contour, the body shape is sometimes what people really desire. So the scale might not change, but when you're working out and you're controlling your calories more, now you're going to fit, you're going to feel better in your body. Over several months of using and microdosing, that's when people will start to see a slight reduction in their weight as they start to approach their goals.
What about taking microdosing a step further and taking that lowest minimum dose, instead of doing it once a week, dividing that dose into 3?
So that is something that's possible. I haven't been prescribing it like that, but I could see something like that working. I have spoken with other physicians who have done that, have done the 3. One thing that I should mention is one of the products that's being used, and people tend to really like it, there's an oral dissolving tablet of semaglutide. So you take it every day, but it's in a small dose. And so that is another way that you can consider microdosing. The other thing that's nice about the oral dissolving tablet is if you want, you can step up the dose, and then you can step up again if you want. One of the issues that I'm coming across, which I think is really interesting, and a lot of people are in this boat, where someone's doing all the right things. They're exercising, they're eating very clean, but they still have this very stubborn 5, 10, 15 pounds. And it could very well be that their BMI, and I fully recognize BMI is not the best measurement for everyone. One size does not fit all, but we have to have some kind of reference point. Their BMI is within normal range, meaning that it's 24 or below. And what we consider normal BMI is 18.5 to 24. So they might be 24, 23, 22, but they still need to lose a certain amount of weight. That's where I think the microdosing is the most powerful. I feel like it's the safest, and it gives people the control over several months in order to reach their goal safely.
Right, while they're doing all the other things. You know, that kind of brings me to VibraGenix. And so my business partner, his wife, just for years was stuck at a size 14. And a lot of it was lower body weight. And she went to the gym 4 days a week. And she had a trainer 2 days, played tennis, and then did a body body pump workout class. And she ate right. She just figured this is the way she was going to be because she was stuck there for years and years and years and years and years. By doing the VibraGenix consistently, about 6 days a week, that's the only thing she changed because everything else was clean. Her diet was clean. Her exercise program was great. She went down to a size 6 and has stayed there the last 8 years.
Wow. That's
so
great.
a lot. Yeah, so they're not only frequencies in the VibraGenix for weight loss, frequencies that they use in non-invasive lipo are in there, and for cavitation, those are in there. Also, frequencies for increasing the metabolism through increasing the thyroid function. She paired those frequencies with mood elevation and stress relief because those are the two reasons that women, don't eat the right thing.
Especially that stress, especially the stress. Yeah.
Yeah, stress leads to cortisol, leads to belly fat. It's just a domino effect. So I turned around seeing her results, and I did a study at a local gym here. It used to be called the Court Club. It's now Pacific Clinic. And I took random people from the community, and I just did a Facebook ad, had people come in. It was a weight loss and wellness study for 1 month. You come in 3 days a week, stand on the machine for 20 minutes, don't do any changes in your diet, just drink more water. And we measured blood pressure, heart rate. We did a sliding subjective scale on insomnia, on sleep, pain, that kind of thing. And then did comprehensive measurements and weight. At the end of the study, 8 inches and 21 pounds.
Wow.
3 days a week with just the VibraGenix. You have to understand, this brings me to another thing. How many people are sedentary? They used to say 68%. I bet you the numbers are even higher post-COVID. Probably not where you live in sunny California, but in many parts of the world, people got sedentary and kind of stayed that way.
Yeah.
So being on the VibraGenix, every 10 minutes is equal to an hour walk. So they had 6 hours of walking built into their sedentary schedule. And I think that's why it made such a big impact on some people. So it's really interesting. I mean, I love it for weight loss, but there's other things that we do now in our wellness center, regenerative center, that really seem to stack and contribute. And I want to talk a little bit about those.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring them up because between the VibraGenix and the EMS, I think these are two things that would pair extremely well with the GLP-1s. So the VibraGenix and the EMS, particularly because they're stimulating muscle. And even with you working out, being on the VibraGenix and the EMS, you're going to get more stimulation of your muscle and large muscle groups than you could with a workout.
Yep.
So doing that on a consistent basis is going to help maintain your muscle mass. So one thing that I didn't mention, there's a difference between the GLP-1s that are being made. There are the ones that are being made by the big pharmaceutical companies, and then there are the drugs that are made by your local compounding pharmacies. What's great about some of these compounding pharmacies is they're including something like glycine or vitamin B12 in the GLP-1 preparation. So glycine can help you maintain your muscle mass. Vitamin B12 is going to help you with your red blood cell production, and it's going to help you with your energy levels. In a way, I kind of feel like it's in people's best interest to use a compounding pharmacy if they're concerned about their muscle mass, or if they're concerned about their energy levels, or if they have been stressed for a certain amount of time, then go for it and use that B12. And then you add the VibraGenix 3 times a week. And now you're maintaining your muscle mass even more, and you can run some of these other programs like you just mentioned.
And the EMS, a lot of people are super familiar with it. It's magnetic stimulation. The body's actually invisible to magnetic field, but it actually sends out the magnetic field and reverses it, and will make every muscle fiber contract at the same time. Fast twitch, slow twitch, and you can't do that with exercise. You have to do different kinds of exercises to get that. This does it all at the same time. And as soon as it uses up the energy inside that muscle, it will actually start burning the fat in that area. And they say you can burn up to 20% of the fat in that area. So if you're working on glutes, on your belly, anything like that, on your quads, it'll help shape, tone, and burn the muscle.
Yeah, with the EMS and having the paddles and the seat, that's one thing I want to describe is the EMS, you have 2 of 3 modalities that you can use at one time. So you could sit on a plate that is comfortable, and it's going to give you thousands of Kegels within a 20 to 30 minute session. And then you have these paddles, and you can place the paddles on your quads. You can place them over your abdomen. You can place them on your thighs, and it's going to stimulate the area, stimulate the muscles. And like you just said, once you exhaust the energy that the muscle is using, then it's going to start to use fat. It's going to start to burn fat. So it's an excellent way of getting to the pelvic area, stimulating that, and then having spot treatments for whatever area that you feel that you need to address.
And the pelvic seat on the MagSlim is not just doing Kegels. It actually tightens and tones everything through the pelvic floor,
Yes.
even the glutes.
Yes.
And the
When I've been
hamstrings.
doing it, I feel it in my glutes. I feel it in my hamstrings.
Yeah.
I feel it like up, like woo.
Yeah.
Like I know that there's something going on around the prostate, around the bladder. Like in Chinese medicine, it's called like the Dan Qian, like that area, right in the center of your pelvis there.
Yeah, and that's just so important that a lot of people have a weakened pelvic floor. I mean, the number of people that have incontinence is pretty astounding. Nobody likes to talk about it, but once they are in the center, we've tried to run ads for people to come in for incontinence, and nobody wants to walk in the door and go, I'm here for incontinence. But once they know what it does, then they're all about it. And there's also frequencies in the VibraGenix for that. But it's just amazing how many people are affected by that, and I'm not sure why. But it's also really good for the prostate and ED kind of issues.
Yeah.
Awesome piece of equipment.
And since you mentioned that study that you did, neighbors have been continuing to come through to the garage for biohack sessions. So we're kind of in this rhythm now, and the word is spreading out a little bit more and more. But one of my neighbors, he's been coming regularly, 2 to 3 times a week. A lot just depends on when I finish clinic. But he said to me the other day, he's like, I've lost 10 pounds. And I was like, oh, really? And he just kind of said it so matter-of-factly. And I was like, have you done anything? He goes, no, the only thing I've been doing different is coming over here. So he's been using regularly. We've been running different programs on VibraGenix, and then he's been using the RF foot as well. And that's the difference. And he's lost 10 pounds.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's the other thing, with the VibraGenix is profound at moving the lymphatic system, because it gets down into low frequencies, 4, 5, and 6 hertz, which is perfect for throwing the lymph up and allowing the one-way valve to close. And when you're losing weight, you need your lymphatic system cranking.
Yes. Well, and that goes back to what you originally said about the liver. And I'm going to throw in the kidney. So the liver, everything basically goes through the liver and needs to be processed. If the liver and your detoxification pathways aren't working well, and if your kidneys aren't working well, you're not going to be able to, one, process, but also eliminate, whether it's the toxins, the waste products. All of that is necessary in order to clear. And that brings up one other subject. It doesn't come up often, but I would say out of maybe 20 patients, it's maybe 1 or 2 people will ask, and they'll say, I'm inflamed. They can feel, and if someone says that they think they're inflamed, they're inflamed. And that, what I have noticed consistently, when people are inflamed and when they use BPC, they will oftentimes lose about 5 pounds. And part of what I think is going on is the inflammation attracts water. And a lot of that tends to be in the gut, because the gut is inflamed. It becomes edematous. The walls become thicker, and it's literally holding on to excess water. And once that inflammation goes down, once the gut starts to heal, you don't need to hold on to that water anymore. So people diurese, they urinate out that excess water.
That's just on BPC alone?
I would prefer BPC and TB500, so Wolverine. But if you can only do one, I would say BPC. If that's one of the issues you have with weight loss, if you recognize that, that could be something that really helps you and can jumpstart the weight loss or help you with that last like 5 or 10 pounds.
So is that something that you would combine with semaglutide?
It's not being, actually, one of the pharmacies that I use, they combine BPC with semaglutide. And that's one of the only pharmacies that I've come across that's doing that.
Kind of a brilliant idea.
It's a very good idea, yeah.
So some of the other modalities, I'd like to talk a little bit about red light, because red light is everywhere now. There's been so many studies on it. There's so many books written, and it's everywhere. Kind of helping people understand a little bit. So red light is really therapeutic, depending on the red light you get. So little LED lights that are in fabric don't do that much. They're not very powerful. Medical grade red light is phenomenal. It has been FDA approved for wound healing and has been used in medical settings for wound healing. But especially when you combine it with the near infrared, it really penetrates. Near infrared is actually the most healing. It penetrates up to 2 inches into the body. Really good for rebooting the mitochondria in the cells, reducing inflammation, like we just talked about. A lot of people think of it for weight loss. It can lead to mild to moderate weight loss. It is one of the best things for your skin, for elastin, collagen. For making people feel better. Everybody just feels better. We have in our center, we have 2 medical grade red light beds, and they are constantly packed. But I think as the number one modality for weight loss, it's probably not your strongest contender, but it's definitely an adjunct that helps. What's your experience with red light?
So I think it's an excellent adjuvant, and especially if you are combining it. So one of the questions I had for you, which I'm not sure about, so you can educate me, is for the infrared, can people have their clothes on, or does their skin have to be exposed?
It is more effective if the skin's exposed. Any red light therapy, you really want the skin exposed.
Okay.
So even in red light beds, women that are concerned about mild to moderate fat loss in certain areas like the breasts, they'll wear their bras, things like that, just to kind of protect that. Other people don't care. But generally speaking, most people have all their clothes off when they get in the red light bed because that makes it the most effective.
Okay.
And you can get those, sleeping bags off Amazon, that kind of thing, but it takes literally 60 to 120 minutes twice a day to get where you're getting in a 15-minute session on a medical grade red light bed.
Yeah. And I think part of what's so powerful about either the bed or if you have a wall that's medical grade is your proximity to it. So having your whole body exposed, and instead of it being, I don't know if you can see me, but let's just say this was like 5 feet away from it. If you are as close as you can be to it, it's going to penetrate that much more. Not only is it covering all your surface area, but now it's going deep into your skin and into your tissues, and you're going to get that much more benefit out of it.
You bet. And the medical grade red light panel, you have one of those.
Yes. We've been using it every day. So what I do is I have that right behind the VibraGenix, and I turn it on. So as you're standing on the VibraGenix for the 20 minutes, you're getting that treatment as well.
You could always mount it on the wall or something so it's closer to the face.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
It's good for so many other things. I mean, people use it on their feet. They'll put their feet on it for neuropathy, or if they're having intestinal issues, they'll put it right on their stomach. Lung issues, right on their chest. It's really versatile.
I didn't think about
Any
that.
kind of
Okay.
pain, inflammation. So if you have pain in your back, we have a little boy that he's 8. I think he's 8, and he has asthma. He always asks for the frequencies, the cell exciters, because they have the Mobi in it, and he always asks for the red light to put on his chest.
Oh, okay.
I told him he's going to have to give me a testimonial. He's always asking this mom, I need the light. I need the frequencies. Yeah,
That's
and
excellent.
those panels are really great, especially if they're medical grade and they have that near infrared, which penetrates the deepest. I know it's hard for a lot of people to remember, but far infrared goes the least far. It's the opposite of what you think. Near infrared penetrates the deepest. It's the strongest. Okay. So it is the most medicinal.
And then for the people that are watching, folks that are listening, when you say medical grade, what does that actually mean?
So medical grade, I summarize it for the general public in our place. It has to be powerful. So if you have a medical grade red light bed, it is going to be 220. It's going to take 40 amps. It is that kind of power coming through it to project it enough into the skin. And even the red light panel, it's pretty heavy duty. The one you have,
it is.
Yeah, it's powerful. It takes fans to constantly keep it cool, and you just need that intensity behind it. Okay. Otherwise, we have red light helmets, that don't have near infrared, and they're not as powerful. It's for hair growth, but it's not supposed to penetrate very deep. It's a helmet you put on, you turn it on, and we have several people now that have about 1-inch hairs growing on their head. Nice. Just kind of another fun thing you can do, but that is not what I would consider medical grade. That is something you plug into the wall and charge it up and then put it on. Anything that can be detached from power is not going to be medical grade. Okay. It would have to have a heck of a battery pack. It also has to do with the wavelengths, but the wavelengths have become common straight across the board, even in the inexpensive, tiny little red lights in fabric that you can lay on you in a pad. And it's just, people go, I think it might do something, but it does something if you have medical grade.
Right.
But
Right.
Yeah.
And I was in a discussion yesterday about red light beds, red light panels. I asked a question about the power source, and what you said is exactly the case. These need to have a dedicated power source where you're drawing a certain amount of amps. And if you don't have that, it's not going to be an effective red light bed or red light wall or panel.
Yeah, and I think it's really confusing for a lot of people. Because even like Planet Fitness, you go and they have red light bulbs in their tanning beds. They're the same, but they're just colored red, and it's not the same effect at all. But medical grade red light can be very, very effective in the healing process. And one of the biggest things that they're finding out is doing is rebooting the mitochondria, which they have learned from people that had COVID and had the immunizations. It shut down the mitochondria. And when you shut down the mitochondria, your cell voltage goes down. When your cell voltage goes down, your cells start stacking together in little chains. And then they don't have the surface area to bring in oxygen and nutrients, get rid of waste products. So if you can reboot the mitochondria and have more energy in that cell, the body will get to the point it starts healing itself. But what's happened is, post-pandemic, is we have all of these people that have the low ATP output from the mitochondria, and their body can't fight other diseases. They went into COVID with maybe 2 diagnoses and 2 prescriptions, and now they have 10 diagnoses coming out.
Yeah.
So that's something, just talking to a lot of the medical practitioners at the A4M, that they were kind of at a loss for what to do. So I know people at HSA's accounts are now paying for, they can draw for red light therapy.
Oh, that's excellent.
For mitochondrial reboot.
That's excellent.
So that's one of my favorite things about it, for sure. So there's green light as well. We made the first ever made medical grade panels, and they also have the near infrared in it. Takes just the same amount of power, has 5 levels of intensity. And green light, it's been used in the veterinary industry for a long time for glaucoma and for calming the nervous system in animals, but it is used in the aesthetics industry for emulsification of fat, but also tightening skin and getting rid of dark spots, like age spots, wrinkles, age spots, that kind of thing, but definitely for the emulsification fat. And you can use it the same way, putting it on your stomach, and you'll still get that anti-inflammatory effect, and you'll still get the rebooting of the mitochondria. But red light is better for things like neuropathy. Putting your feet on that red light is really good for neuropathy.
So going back to the GLP-1s, I could very much see if someone, and I'm kind of going through my head now thinking about my clinic, having one of the tracks that I'm creating is for weight management and aesthetics. And so I'm envisioning someone is on the VibraGenix. They've got the green light panels so that they can be in a nice private space. They can be on the VibraGenix with the green light panels. It's helping to tighten and tone their skin. It's helping them maintain their weight loss, and they're feeling good, and they're helping their mitochondria as far as their energy production, their ATP, and just the overall well-being is satisfied just with those 2 modalities.
That's another really, really, really good thing. I think, you were talking about your neighbor and the radio frequency heat therapy that you put your feet on. And I think that's a really effective thing for a lot of things, cleaning up pathogenic debris in the body by increasing a fever, but really getting those meridians functioning and the circulation going, because everything goes to your feet. It correlates with everything.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Are you still using it all the time?
Oh, all the time. And what's great is now there's at least half a dozen or more people who have had 4 or 5 sessions, and the heat, they're feeling it creeping up. And I actually made a house call to one of my neighbors. They weren't feeling well and they couldn't come to the garage. So I brought that over to them, and I told them to use it last night and use it this morning, and I was going to get it back. For the first time, they felt the heat all the way to their head. I told them, because I was fighting something and I did it, I could feel my throat was just irritated, and it felt like it was just inflamed and swollen. When the heat got to my throat, I could feel my throat opening, and I did it. I went to sleep. I did it again in the morning, and then I knew, I was like, oh, I'm going to be just fine. I could tell that my body, my immune system was clearing whatever it was. So he texted me and he said he felt it all over, and that he felt that his throat was actually improving with that heat. So
It's an
I
amazing
love
tool.
it. I
Yeah, it's
love that it also opens the meridians, that it clears these blockages, that it allows energy to flow freely the way that it's supposed to in the body.
It's amazing how many people have energy blocks, and when they first use it, that heat only goes up to their ankles or calves or their knees. And then eventually, as you experience too, all the way up through your body. And when that happens, it induces essentially a fever, which, colds, flus, things like that, your body usually tries to get rid of those with a fever. I always try to let people, if you get a fever, don't medicate it. That's your body trying to fight what's in there. Let it go.
Yeah.
Unless it gets up, 104, 105, then, we'll pay attention. But by doing that, I think it cleans out an incredible amount of just debris that we have, from past infections or whatever else. It's one thing I've noticed is some people, especially with COVID, there was something about that particular organism would get stuck in some part of the body. That was the long haul COVID part. Sometimes it was in people's lungs. Some people would get it in their ears, but we could go through and clean that up, and internal heat therapy is fabulous for that.
Yeah. I've been describing it a little bit as it's like having a sauna in a box for your feet. So instead of putting your whole body in one, you just put your feet in and you have this nice internal heat that gets generated just from having your feet on those plates.
Oh, the sauna from the inside. And, saunas are big, and we're actually having one specially made, to heat the body from the outside. And it has a lot of other elements, the near, mid, and far infrared. It has Himalayan salts, and it has red light therapy as well. So I think it's a great thing to heat it from the outside, but it is even more effective because you're actually heating up the core temperature. Yeah. The sauna, it's hard to heat up the core temperature. It heats up your skin, the outer layers, but that core temperature.
Yeah.
So
I've been doing it at least twice a week, usually 3 times, but at least twice a week.
Yeah, when I first got introduced to that product, we were actually taking a VibraGenix to a clinic, and I did a training. They had about 20 other staff there, and I did a training on how to use the machine and all the frequencies. And we were on our way to a trade show, and I was supposed to speak, and I started feeling like I was getting the flu. I had an employee at work that had the flu. I mean, it was hitting me like a freight train. And he goes, "Come over here and try this." So I used that machine that night, went back to the condo where we were staying. I felt even worse, went back in the morning, did it again, and knocked it completely out of my system. And my employee had that flu for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I can't go to a trade show and, be sick and get up on stage. So it's amazing what it does for that. It's a handy tool just to keep it around for colds and flus.
Yeah, for sure.
So what else besides exercise, eating right, what else when it has to do with weight loss would you recommend?
I've had some people, as I've been going through, they've either tried other peptides, but then they were going to the GLP-1s because they didn't get help. But then also those were some people that were inflamed. And I also don't know the sources of where they were getting those peptides from. There are ones, tesamorelin, AOD is another one that's very popular. CJC with IPA is another one that can be really popular. Now that I'm thinking about it, it really is important to address the gut and to address the liver, because if your gut is inflamed, if your liver isn't processing, it's going to be really, really hard to eliminate.
The other thing that I have found that has really helped people is we found a product. It's made in Switzerland. So it is Korean red ginseng that has been fermented for 6 years. And it's with a really comprehensive, unique probiotic formula, and it comes in little packets. So it's in little containers like this, and it's powder, and it comes in a box, has 5 of these containers in it, and it's not cheap. It's like $275, but it completely restructures the microbiome in your gut. So we have started carrying it and selling it in the center, and people love it. And almost everybody that has done it has lost 20 to 30 pounds. You take 2 packets a day with food, and people really have a messed up gut can step that up to 3 and then 4 and then back it off again. But it's amazing. Digestion, like irritable bowel syndrome symptoms go away. And once your microbiome starts getting rebuilt and repaired, you start absorbing your vitamins and minerals a lot better. So you don't have the deficiencies, and everything starts functioning better. It's been I will send you information.
I was going to say, you're going to have to send me so I can read about it.
It's a really cool product. I mean, I ordered 10 boxes and they were gone like that because I tried them, another employee did, and we're just like, oh my gosh, because we've always had gut issues. Yeah. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I think really balancing the gut is really key to losing weight as well and keeping it off.
Yeah. And for you said that the type of ginseng is it Korean?
It's red Korean ginseng, but it's been fermented for like 6 years.
Okay.
I'll send you the information on this. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm interested because there are different types of ginseng. Korean red ginseng is one of the strongest as far as it being very yang, whereas American ginseng has much more yin. And Americans tend to do better with more of the yin. But when it comes to that formulation that you're describing and weight loss combined with the probiotics, that seems like a very interesting combination as far as allowing, almost like it's increasing your set point, raising the thermostat a little bit while you're addressing the gut health and the microbiome.
Yeah, people have more energy up when they're on it. It's actually called energy up biotics, and I think it's just because of that they have more energy. But the biggest thing is so much less discomfort and swelling and inflammation in their gut. And then your methylated vitamins. I'm a big fan of methylated vitamins because methylation issues are so profound out there. There's so many people.
Very common, and people just don't know that they have it.
I know. Methylated B vitamins, people. Super important. A lot of people, I mean, if you do have methylation issues and B vitamins, they work together in all your enzymatic processes. And if you're deficient in a B vitamin, a lot of times your microbiome is damaged in the first place. So you're not able to absorb. And then if you have a methylation issue on top of it, you're going to become more and more deficient in those B vitamins that you need in the methylated form. And I have switched people to methylated Bs, and their energy is completely different. That's why energy drinks are so big, is because everybody's deprived on B vitamins. And I think the reason that is because when your body is under stress, you burn through B vitamins at Mach 10. And it's not just, it can be emotional stress, physical stress, illness stress, whatever it is. And that's when you really need even more of the B vitamins. So getting those in methylated format, I really think is a great idea for weight loss, for overall health, for everything.
Great tip. Yeah, that's awesome.
I think that the sustainability, I think when you get your body in balance and you get where you need to be, it's the lifestyle too. You really have to get on a regular program. I mean, a lot of people I've talked to, they're like, I don't like cardio. I don't like exercise, whatever it is. It's like, find something you like. There are so many things you can do out there that are active. Keep trying things until you find something you like.
Until you find something. Yep.
There's been a whole lot of people that fall in love with pickleball that were not athletic at all.
So continue to do pickleball. And I like people to have two different things. That way they're using different muscle groups. If they've done 1-2 days in a row, they can switch to something else. Or if they can't do the one, they can do something else. I've been advising, because there are certain folks will say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I've been working out. I do X amount of cardio. They're just doing everything right. And I'll recommend to them, switch up and start doing high intensity workouts. Do that twice a week. And instead of doing your cardio and focusing on that, now switch to weight or strength training. So that way you're helping with your body contours, you're helping with your shape. For some people, cardio can actually be quite stressful. So if you're doing a HIIT workout for 20 minutes or less, you're getting such a bang in such a short period of time, and your large muscle groups are going to continue to burn energy, and eventually you'll tap into metabolizing fat.
If you don't like cardio at all, VibraGenix is perfect for you. You can get your cardio while you're standing on the machine. And if you use weights of resistance training, you build muscle, tighten, and tone up to 50% faster. So that's a really good biohack for a lot of people that really don't like it.
I think that was a great conversation.
That wraps it up. I think that's a great one. We'll talk to you soon. And thank you so much for all your time and wisdom.
Okay. And thank you for having me again. Thank you.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
I appreciate it very much. Bye-bye.